welcome to Talking Comics, issue 33. I'm back, Zach's back, I know you've missed me, I've missed you too, and we're here with Ellie. How you doing, Ellie?
Yeah, hi.
Yeah?
That was weird.
You didn't look up for it.
I was really like taken aback by that. It was an impromptu, moment there.
You didn't look up for it, I thought I'd just, step in, saw my moment. And
No, you did really well.
Yeah,
that's really disappointing. No, you did well.
Right, fantastic. Should we crack on?
So, are you taking over again?
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
Can I do it?
Yeah, go for it.
You can start.
I can start. Oh, thanks.
Welcome.
Thanks. I've actually got 4 books this week in one go. 4.
That's a mass review.
That's a huge quantity. I got 4 books, right? And the reason I've got 4 books is that they're very well interrelated. So the first 2 books I'm going to talk about are the Avengers, which were written by Brian Michael Bendis, and the second 2 books I'm going to talk about are the New Avengers, which happen to also be written by Brian Michael Bendis.
Not the Secret Avengers.
Not the Secret
Not
Avengers,
the Secret Avengers,
which would have been a 3rd set, right? But these 2 are much better related than Secret Avengers.
Yeah,
when Secret Avengers came out, it was the same point in time that these 2 came out because Steve Rogers had just taken over. It was the Heroic Age.
Yes.
Right? Do you remember that?
Yes.
Back in the day,
yeah.
right? The Heroic Age.
Back a while,
the Heroic Age had happened. Steve Rogers had taken over S.H.I.E.L.D. and he decided to set up some new Avengers. And one of the teams he set up was his own team.
Yep.
Which still had the classic Iron Man, Thor, was it Hulk, I think, as well? No, it was Spider-Man. Yeah, but Spider-Man and Wolverine, you see, end up getting about there.
They're everywhere. Spider-Man at one point.
The main bulk of these Avengers was really the fact that Captain America, Thor, and Iron Man were in it. In fact, it's so important that he actually turns up to Luke Cage, who is now the leader, Power Man, now the leader of the second set of the Avengers, the New Avengers, and he says, "You can have anyone you like, except Iron Man and Thor."
Yep.
And myself, of course, because they'll be running with me. And so he indeed decides to take on a couple of extra people in his lot, and you get to see quite a bit more of them. And really, it becomes the only way I could describe it is a bit of a domestic.
I loved it.
It was very good, but it was a lot about Luke Cage and his wife.
Yeah, it was just about the relationships of the characters rather than them fighting supervillains and that sort of stuff.
And do you know what? When you have so many characters, there's a good chance that Brian Michael Bendis, or any writer for that matter, could have done a really bad job at this. Total clusterfuck when you have so many people involved. But really, really done well. A fabulous job, really, on both sides, actually. And I'm really looking forward to continuing to read both the series.
I've got a confession.
What?
I've read the New Avengers side and not read the Avengers side.
So I could tell you a little bit about it, all right? Because there's a good reason for me to tell you why you should read it. The Avengers side actually starts off with an interesting storyline, which has been drawn, by the way, by John Romita Jr.
That's actually, believe it or not, why I didn't pick it up.
Why?
I couldn't. I love John Romita Jr. Kick-Ass. I love it.
Yeah.
I couldn't stand his Avengers.
Really, and I don't understand. There seems to be quite a polarisation of people about John Romita's art when it comes to this stuff.
I'd tell you what, on that one,
I personally adore his artwork. I would pick it up just for the artwork. I really would.
On the Avengers, I think I blame Klaus Janson because it was just the dullest looking inks and flattest book.
2 legends, though. I mean, really, it's just. But everyone has their moments, and also it's very personal when you talk about artwork, and that's the point I think that you can bring to this is that artwork is a very personal thing, and if you're just not feeling it, then it turns you off straight away, and that's a very hard nail to crack for a hard egg to crack. Sorry, for Marvel. But I'll tell you a little bit more about this. Basically, Kang. Yes, you know who I'm talking about.
Yep, Kang the Conqueror.
Yeah, Kang the Conqueror comes back in time and basically tells them that they're going to totally mess up the future if they don't sort themselves out. They at first, of course, see Kang and think, God, this guy's a
not Kang.
Not Kang. We got to bust him up. He's coming to take over the place. But actually, it's a really clever twist on things. And the person who is behind all of this in the future is a good twist.
Come on.
No, that's where I'm leaving it.
Well, we can whack a spoiler alert. Spoiler alert, who is it?
No, you're going to have to read it. You haven't read it, so that'll be the fun. If I tell you, then it loses the point.
I've got them as well, which is the worst part.
Oh, you've got them sitting there. Well, now maybe I've instigated you to go and read it.
Okay.
But also, the other set of books was really more about Doctor Strange.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
And what's going on with him. And obviously, at this point in time, he's no longer in charge of the Eye of Agamotto. And Agamotto seems to be coming back for his eye. It was really weird.
It was with Dr. Voodoo.
Yeah, Dr. Voodoo is now the Supreme Sorcerer Supreme. Yes, that's right. And the responsibility has landed on his shoulders to deal with the problem. Look, either way, if you don't like these storylines, then don't buy them. But let me tell you, I read them. They are brilliantly written. Brian Michael Bendis does a fabulous job. It's really near the peak of his stuff. Yeah. I think he hit his peak when he did the X-Men, by the way. Currently, you should, I'll review that at some point.
It's amazing.
Marvel Now, it's phenomenal. I really think that's been the best thing he's ever done. And, and the new Avengers, also very, very good. If you like that kind of more interpersonal, domestic
I part of the new Avengers.
Yeah. Yeah. The one thing I would say is that in the second volume, and this is the last thing I want to point out, the artwork changes. It's imminent up until halfway through the second volume, and then you've got Deodato, Chaikin, and a lot of good big names on there.
Deodato's art.
I didn't like the art halfway through. It goes very soft.
Which artist?
It's not Chaikin's. It's this kind of soft.
Oh, it's Acuna. I'm not a fan. He's doing Uncanny Avengers at the moment, and I'm not.
No, I'm not an Acuna fan.
He's all right. Yeah.
It's just a very soft, and there are some heavy fight scenes in there, and that kind of just doesn't match. Anyway.
Right, I'm doing my single comics of what I've actually read this week. Starting with Chin Music, the Image #1 by Steve Niles.
Another Image #1.
I know, I'm on Image #1.
You're kinging on the Image lately, aren't you?
Yeah. By Steve Niles, 30 Days of Night.
Right.
And Tony Harris, who did Ex Machina, and he did a couple Spider-Man books. And I love Tony Harris. I think he's a great
Brian K. Vaughan, Ex Machina.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that art.
Yeah.
I've got to say straight away though.
Yeah.
It was rubbish.
Why is that?
It was absolutely.
Wait. What? The artwork, the storyline, the wording, what?
Both.
You just weren't impressed with anything. Full stop.
For one thing, there's barely any words in it.
There is no words in this.
There's barely any words until the end, and by the point that he starts writing, you're just sitting like, I don't know what's going on. It starts with you've got this Arab person.
Careful, keep it PC.
Sorry, I can't afford that, isn't it?
It's a lot of violence in there.
Yeah, and he's helping people, and then these evil people come in, and he runs, and for some reason he starts flying. Then they fly after him, and they beat him up, and he's just a skeleton.
Right.
Then it sort of jumps like a couple thousand years, and he's found by this cop because he's still alive as a skeleton. And then it jumps to these gangsters talking, and they want to get the cop, and then one of the gangsters dies, and I was just sitting there going, like, just what happened? Like, my mate read it as well.
Would you say it's more fair that you'd like to know what they were smoking more than what was in the comic?
Yeah, to say the least. I just don't understand where they were going with it.
But could it be a slow burner, and then it turns out into some ridiculously brilliant storyline?
If it did, I'd be impressed, because going with that, it was...
But the point is, would you carry on reading a second issue? No, so
I'm done.
You're lost, aren't you? On the first issue, it's gone already, which is sad. It's a shame, isn't it?
It didn't have anything to hook you as well. Like, you can read a book and you might not necessarily know what's going on, but if it hooks you, you're like, well, I've got to get the next one to find out what's going on.
Yeah.
That was just... I haven't got a clue. I'm going to leave this alone. Stay away.
It's a shame, isn't it? Because Image, on the whole, produce a phenomenal set of comics they're coming out with right now. They're one of the best publishers right now.
I was going to say, but even the art, like, I like Tony Harris. I've always liked Tony Harris. He's a great artist.
Just didn't do it for you.
Just nothing about it.
So I've got another graphic novel here, which I think is going to be a bit of a bone of contention.
Okay.
Not that I don't know if you've read it yet, but I can tell you now that you've got it.
I've got it.
Have you read it?
I've been recommended it by so many people I had to pick up.
Right, okay.
It's on the pile.
So the book is called Revival, right? It's the first volume, and it's by Tim Seeley and Mike Norton. It says a rural noir.
Okay.
I don't actually buy into that at all.
No?
It's rural, but noir is... I'm not too sure if that's considered noir. But it starts off with a foreword by Jeff Lemire. And he writes that he wished he would have come up with this graphic novel himself, or comic idea himself. It's so brilliant, and it just built me up, and I was just like, wow, you know, because one of my favourite writers, Jeff Lemire, is going to be telling me that this is the best comic he's read for a long time. So I was like all excited. And the premise of the story goes that an area of America, or what it feels like as America, seems to be having a return of people back from the dead. No one knows the reason why, but it starts off with...
Oh, that old
nugget. Yes, they start off in what appears to be what do they call a place where they burn people. I forgot, my brain's gone. Crematorium, thank you. They start off in a crematorium, and they're just about to, you know, burn up someone, and he, you know, starts shouting because he's alive, and the guy has to release him, and you can see it comes out on fire. So I'll put something up in the front of us maybe, but it comes out on fire, and he freaks out. The guy freaks out, and a lot of people are starting to raise from the dead, come back, and more weird and interesting is that the people that are old, for example, who've lost their teeth as old age passes, start to get their teeth grow back as well.
Oh, they're coming back as young people.
So no, they're not coming back as young people. They're coming back as their age, or they might be de-aging. I don't know,
right?
Because it's only been one graphic novel, but they're regenerating the parts that failed in previous time.
Okay.
And it takes a hell of a lot to kill someone who's come back from the dead as well. So that's the interesting part. And the artwork I thought was very reasonable. I quite enjoyed the artwork. I didn't think it was amazing. It just looks standard.
It looks like it works.
Yeah, it just looks like it works with it, but you know, it's not standard.
Yeah, that classic image sort of. It just works.
But my problem with this book is it went absolutely nowhere.
Oh, you didn't like it? I thought you were going to say you loved it.
No, I didn't enjoy it. I will not be picking up the second volume.
You're the first person I've heard to not.
I don't understand. Do you know what? Maybe it's just me, but because I was confused as to whether it's just me. Sometimes you lose a little bit of confidence in your own.
It's probably just you.
I did do that, and I passed it on to Nubel, saying, Nubel, check this out. What did you think? And your thoughts?
It's not Walking Dead.
It's not Walking Dead, but no, we're Walking Dead. Nothing's gonna be Walking Dead, and I wasn't expecting it to be Walking Dead, but what I was expecting was it to hook me in and drag me in the storyline, and I think that it had a hook there, but I just wasn't taken aback by it, and I'll be honest with you, I really wasn't interested with what happened. The front cover, which looks really interesting, actually has very little to emphasise what happens.
You know what it sounds like to me?
It looks like this girl's going to go around with, you know, one of these scythes and bring the dead, you know, hook the dead.
It just sounds like
down.
a case of you getting really cynical in your old age.
It might be the case. It was just really weird. There were like ghost things turning up, and it just didn't make much sense. None of it made any sense.
Okay.
It's a slow burner, okay? And maybe I'm one of these people that need a little something at the beginning before I get into a slow burner. Because I was with Saga as well. I found it a little bit like nothing's happened yet.
See, I love that.
Yeah, and I don't really understand why people love Saga. I understand why they liked it, but I understand why they loved it because nothing's happened yet. Nothing happened in Saga yet.
You don't need things to happen for it to be good.
Yeah, but I don't. Well, I think
the character's good enough and the writing is good enough. You can get on with it, can't you?
No, I don't. I think a story needs to tell a story.
You just got to give it time.
I know, but that's it.
You're just impatient.
So maybe it's just me, you know, and that's something that you guys need to realise about me. I'm not a massive fan of certain types of slow burners. I do like slow burners, but certain types just turn me off, and Revival was one of them, I'm afraid.
Okay, fair enough. So we've had two weird books we didn't know what was going on in.
Yeah.
One book which I didn't know what was going on in.
Yeah.
And the Avengers, which is lovely.
Yes.
Everybody read the Avengers.
Everyone read the Avengers, and New Avengers. Brian Michael Bendis, superb. You have to finish this off.
Thank you for tuning in to Talking Comics issue 33. As always, it's been me and Ellie, though let's just say mostly me, because you know he's sort of here and we get on with him, but we don't really like him, so we just pretend it's just you and me, right? See you later.
I'm here. I'm standing right next to you, and you're okay.
No, shh.